So, g'day, beautiful people. Today I'm doing a tarot reading, hopefully a quick one that gets the right people and helps the right people. I did have some preliminary insights come through, just some topics that Spirit wanted me to mention, and I hope that I get it out right, get it out the right way so that it's understood. However way it comes out will be perfect, I'm sure. But what the main theme is there's a need for balance at the moment for a lot of people, to find balance. I feel like, I don't know if you've heard this before, but the old saying of, my personal life is going good, my work life is crap. Then it flips the other way around. My career improves and my personal life goes crap. Or the other way around, however it is. And so there's this fluxing that's happening. And the way through it is to find balance through the middle. So then you're not on the emotional and mental roller coaster ride. You're actually moving through the middle, and that's where you find peace. So remember that your career is part of your personal life. People think their personal life is just their home life, but they don't see them as two separate things. They're actually all part of your personal life. It's your journey. Out in the world is your journey. At home is your journey. So ask yourself, what am I putting my attention to right now? What am I actively putting my attention to right now? So if my career is down the bucket and or it's not working out exactly how I perceived it to be, how I wanted it to be, and there's nothing I can do about that right now, but it is weighing heavily on my mind, then what might happen is that you put more of your focus on your relationships or your home life, because you're looking for stability. And so things start to, things you haven't been paying much attention to there start to flourish while you're waiting for an opportunity within your work life to present itself, or something you need to do there to improve the situation. And conversely, the other way around, it can be that someone's having difficulties at home or with their personal life or within a relationship, or a relationship has ended, or it's on rocky roads or whatever. And so what happens is, during that healing process there, just like there was the healing process with career stuff, the healing process there, we put our focus on our career. And so that starts to improve. So we feel like it's either one or the other, and there's this roller coaster, but actually it's all us, it's all our life, and it's our journey. And so just passing through the middle, knowing that there'll always be creation and destruction, and one needs the other for things to move forward. But you can choose to take your mind to, well, I'm only going to focus on this because this is a waste of time. I'm only going to focus on that because this is a waste of time. Then I'm just saying, just look at where you're placing your energies, your thoughts, and where are you investing energy, and then that's what will grow. So even though whether it's work or career or some other part of your life, or your home life, or relationships, there'll be times where you just have to accept to just sit with it. There's no action you can take right now. And so what I'm getting at is, then an opportunity comes forward and you're able to do it in a balanced way if you've done your spiritual work. How do you do your spiritual work, and how do you go through that balanced tunnel in the middle rather than the roller coaster ride? Is through self-love. It is through, no matter what's going on around me in my life, what I'm doing is focusing on me. And so that comes through with self-care. And sometimes something goes pear-shaped in your life, and it just knocks you off your feet for a bit onto your bum. And it can be hard to get motivated to even show any care for yourself, let alone anything else in the world. But the point is, when we tend to start showing care for anything else in the world, it tends to be the opposite of the area that's caused us some pain or concern. So just be aware of that. But even if you just do, when you're feeling really unmotivated, to just do one thing, to choose one thing that's about self-care. So I'm talking about things like, today I'm going to give myself a self-anointing massage before I pop into the shower or the bath. Even the bath is a good thing. Or I'm going to walk down to the local park and swing on the swings, just even for 10 minutes. Anything that just feels special for you that you do for yourself. The flip side of that is to be mindful not to do anything destructive. So some people might have a tendency to go for just try to distract themselves with things that they think will make them feel better short term, but actually they'll crash later on emotionally. So it might be sex, it might be drugs, it might be rock and roll, who knows? It might be gambling or something like that, and they use that to distract themselves. In actual fact, that's not going to help you. Coming back to the self-care, kind things you can do for yourself, not things that engage your mind and your ego in an unhealthy way. It doesn't mean any of those things are necessarily unhealthy. It's about balance and moderation in all things, and looking at the motivations of why you're doing it, in actual fact. I also got a message around, I hope I covered that properly. I also got a message around people getting bullied in school. So adults today who have memories of being bullied in school, in their primary school or early years, or secondary school. And the story was about getting bullied in school, what you do with that in your adult life, because it can really shape how you behave out in the world or within your life as you're maturing and into the later years of your life if it goes unaddressed. So some people, Spirit was saying it, some people develop quite thick armour, defensiveness, hyper ego sort of activity. They might develop a false confidence, sort of the ego's involved in that, and but can be very guarded, can become quite avoidant in getting into any vulnerable situations growing up, because they don't trust themselves, they don't trust people. Now, some people might have a knee-jerk reaction to that and go, well, I trust myself, I just don't trust people because they always do wrong by me, I always get hurt. But in actual fact, if you trust yourself, if you fill your cup of love up and you actually, I know that sounds tacky, and actually trust yourself, we can put you in any situation and you'll be able to handle it and deal with it. And if something feels off, you won't make yourself vulnerable. You need to look at why you were making yourself vulnerable in the past. What was your motivation actually? That's a very complex topic, but so some people build this armour and this defensive personality traits or behaviours. Other people shy away and they very reserved and they keep to themselves, and so because for the same reason, they don't trust the people around them or themselves, trying to avoid getting hurt. Underneath both situations, and so that can be equally as damaging to that person because they never get to really feel confident in themselves. The other person doesn't feel the one with all the armor on doesn't feel confident in themselves either. That's why they're wearing the armor. Just because you can go out there and be bold and brave and swing your sword around and yield your shield doesn't make you stronger than the person who is sitting with no apparent protections and is just humble, outwardly humble. So I'm giving you two extremes there. So where's the balance there? So in between that, underneath both motivations is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of avoidance, fear of pain and disappointment. But again, as I've said in my previous video and earlier today, if you are focused on yourself rather than a part or aspect of your life or somebody else, if you're focused on yourself, and it's not about being selfish in a negative way, this is about healthy self-respect, healthy self-care, then you are able to nourish yourself and you are able to be the best person to give yourself that warm hug that's encouraging and nurturing and supports you to just put one step in front of the other in moving forward, no matter how gentle. It's not about a race. It's about where am I today? What do I feel to do today? What little thing can I do today that feels good for me or that I've always wanted to do or whatever? What's this one little step I can take today? But the main thing is, how can I care for myself today? What do I need? And just going back to the more humble, outwardly humble person. So a destructive behaviour for them could be inactivity. So not actually taking action can be the destructive behaviour for them. Does that make sense? And people can swap between the two. So it's all about balance. And how to get there is through self-care and self-love. And it's not about, I love myself and you're just grabbing yourself and whatever. It's, we're not talking about tacky stuff. We're talking about really simple things you can do, even just being out in nature and choosing to touch the leaves and plants and see the beauty in the green and the wildlife and the birds and whatever, and just sitting. Or if you're in a more urban situation, you go people watching, sitting at a park bench, you've got your thermos of your herbal tea or coffee or whatever, and you just people watch and just observe people. When we do this stuff, the overwhelming thing that comes through us from really the inside out is, it's okay. I'm okay. And that's the feeling we want to build on. All right. So I hope someone got something out of that, and I hope it made sense. It wasn't a whole lot of jibber jabber, but it's what I felt. I feel like there was another message there somewhere, but if it may come out in the cards or at some stage. So I'm just going to have a quick shuffle. So I use only the major arcana. That's what I was taught. It might seem lazy, but that's what I was taught. So I only use those 22 cards. And it works for me because the rest of the details come through. When I do personal readings, the rest of the details come through my empathing and through the insights from spirit that make it very direct and relevant to the person sitting before me or through the camera. So this is a general reading. It's timeless, so it's for all signs, for everyone. If it's found you, you know what to do. Take what resonates and have a think about the other stuff, because maybe it doesn't feel like it resonates because it's challenging you to think another way, to take on another perspective. So just be aware of that. And, you know, the theme today was balance. And so that's what's required in order to come to balance is, you know, the inactive, reserved, outwardly reserved person can actually be more confident. Through self-care, they can learn to nurture themselves towards more activity and more confidence out in the world. And good things will come of that. The more aggressive, dominating, armour-wearing person, a very self-protective person, could learn to humble themselves through self-care, feel safe enough to be able to humble themselves. And that humility then enables them to maybe step forward and ask for forgiveness of someone that they've, you know, bruised or perhaps hurt, or ask questions and look for understanding, or to act more softly out in the world and see what that does for them. In both cases, what's needed is enough self-nurturing that they feel safe enough to do it. So if you've got your own back, you're not as affected by external factors knocking you to the core as much, and you're able to pick yourself up more quickly. And I'll talk about more self-care measures down the track. Present position, we have the Lover's card, and the current influence or challenge is the Chariot. Short-term outcome is strength. Distant past is the Moon. More recent past is the Star. And the incoming influence is the Hanged Man. The attitude, current attitude is the Hermit. Snapshot of your world is the Tower. Hidden desires and fears is Justice. And final outcome, final potential outcome is Temperance. So I hope this is all showing up on the camera. So let's see, underneath we have the World. So I've had these cards for nearly 30 years, actually 30 years, and they're my favourite deck. They're a version of the Rider-Waite, but they're not Rider-Waite. Yeah, they're my main go-to. I feel most comfortable with them. I've had them for that long, and they've served me well. So just at the moment with the World card, just try to, again, this is about balance. You see there's different influences, very different characters around you and personalities around you, and you may have a tendency to want to people please. You enjoy actually people pleasing, and you enjoy keeping yourself busy, working out what different people need, whether in your work or in your home life. But there's a need, the influence at the moment is for you to find some balance and put the focus onto you, not to external influences and external people, to actually bring the focus back onto you and do your dance for yourself. And in fact, I wanted to say that, like, anyone feeling in a slump, Put on your best music, your fun music, the stuff you haven't listened to for 10 years or something. Put it on in the house and move. Have a little jiggle. Get up and move around to the music and sing if you want to sing and whatever. That will open up your voice chakra. It will lighten you up. The movement will literally lighten you up. It can be 3 minutes of a song. It doesn't matter. Just find a way to lift yourself up, because if you can't do it, nobody can do it for you. So we need to show ourselves the love we want to receive from the world. But this is really about balance. So try not to focus too much on what you need to do for others and for external things. To bring your focus back onto you and what you need to do for yourself, if that makes sense. I'm picking up a lot of intelligence there in terms of knowing how to manage people. But I think here with the Justice card, you're quietly seeking balance and boundaries, and that's what's required. So people who love to people please, or to be in service of others, or do good things for others, why? So you can feel good about yourself, or we need to question those things. I think it's healthy to do so. To bring that balance back to your focus back to yourself, to find balance within you, so that it's just not about outward energy all the time. That's another way that we can distract ourselves from our emotional woes, from our deeply personal stuff that we really need to spend time with and shed a light on. As uncomfortable as that can feel, as I said in the previous video, this can be another distraction method, is that we're just giving out to our energy out to everyone else, and we need boundaries and balance, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So the Lovers card, so there could be, and this is the feeling that I had, that a lot of people are going through very emotional times right now, and it's around their intimate relationships. A lot of people are feeling unsupported by people they really care about and have invested a lot of love into. Concern around a third party, so someone else being involved that we don't know about. Well, if you're not in contact in the moment, then you just have to wait. You may never receive the information that you want, but that shouldn't stop you from doing your self-care that gets you through this anyway, because that's the whole point, right? Is being able to move through it anyway, regardless of what we know and we don't know. But don't be putting up with any crap, is what I want to say. Make sure that you are respected in the way that you're showing respect. Does that make sense? So really, you're not asking for anything you're not offering. If you're treating people with care and respect, you're not asking for anything that you're not offering to be treated the same way. You can, if someone that you're dealing with has a tendency to be abusive or hurtful in the way that they speak, you now have the right to step up and say, I won't tolerate that behaviour, continue and I'll leave. And then back it up. If they continue, get up, no matter where you are. You might be in a restaurant or a cafe or in their house, or if they're in your house, then ask them to leave, and just get up. Get yourself up, have your own back, and that strength will come when you actually care enough about yourself. Don't be waiting for someone else to care about you when you're not caring for yourself. The current influence, and this isn't going to be fun for some people, is to the Chariot is about, particularly in this instance, it's about recognising where certain people, places or environments, so this could be about work, it could be about personal life. In this instance, they brought up personal, I shouldn't say personal life, should I? In this instance, it's to do with relationships, our people, close people around us, but recognising if it no longer is in our best interest or highest good to be around that person or those people or that place or environment or that workplace or whatever, or to, you know, a particular pub that you all like to go to with your friends or whatever it is. You don't vibe with that anymore. It's not for your highest good. You've worked out that, you know, you want better than what you feel in this engagement, then get on your chariot and move forward. So recognising that there are always doors and windows of opportunity before us, that the path is never ending and always before us. So he's driving away from a city here, and because he's been self-recognition that it doesn't serve me to be with these people anymore or to be in this environment anymore, and I need to be prepared to get on my chariot, jump in my car, on my horse, whatever it is, and move forward. And so it doesn't mean necessarily an ending. It doesn't mean necessarily having no further contact with the person, place, environment, whatever at all. But it's about recognising that it doesn't serve you to keep investing in that to the degree that you were at the time. It can also be about needing to let go of the past in order to move forward with that person. Does that make sense? So this is not necessarily, I don't want to be dogmatic here. It's not necessarily about cutting people off, like cutting and running, okay? Because there has been a lot of that lately. It's actually more likely to be about being able to remove yourself from a past situation, to let go of any emotional ties that you have around disappointing situations that didn't work out, particularly if there's a particular person in mind, and being able to move forward from that. So, you know, but still, if an apology is needed or explanation is needed, more information is needed to be communicated, then that's all part of the healing process for both people. This is about moving forward and when I say leaving the past in the past, it doesn't mean not talking about it, because I'm one for, you do need to talk about it. You do need to feel all of the associated emotions when you're talking about it and afterwards as well, in order for the healing to take place. So we're not talking about avoiding our responsibilities to ourselves or the people around us and just running, but it is about being able to move forward. And if you're able to do that, whatever that forward looks like, so it could mean that there's communication, respectful communication going on, where clarity is being given on both sides, emotions are being expressed in balanced, respectful ways. Healing can take place whether you get back together or you don't. That's up to you, you guys. But recognising what is for your highest good and stepping towards that. And that can be based on perception, so we need to be careful what decisions we make and what we say, because once you said it, you can't take it back. So it's about following your intuition and your heart, having your heart open, yeah? I think that's why I was talking about the two types of people here, the more aggressor, self-protective type, and then the more vulnerable, reserved type, can handle this situation very differently. But anyway, if you take this advice, then what you're leading to is a much stronger place within yourself, and having a feeling like, I got this, I've worked it out. I've been able to tame this beast that I haven't been able to get my head around how to deal with this. I know how to deal with this. I've got this under control within myself. It doesn't mean you're controlling the other person or the situation or anything like that. It is about feeling like you've got it under control within yourself. This is very internal journey. So this is why these times are really difficult for some people, because they can't seem to affect noticeable, tangible things out in their lives that they can say, oh, that changed everyone can see that. That's a good thing. That's a show of a good thing in my life. Actually, all the changes are happening within us. And it feels like we're dredging our feet through the mud. It's hard and we've got this steep mountain to climb and all this it's nowhere near as bad as what it seems. I just remembered what the other thing was, and it's pertinent that it come up right now. So if we're dealing with other, an intimate other, whatever, and it hasn't really, things have gone sour or south, or there's no contact, or whatever the situation is, Spirit was just telling me to say again with my hands, sometimes through our pain and our discontentment, disappointment with a situation, it can be helpful for us, or to allow our ego or whatever to say, well, this person's bad. I need to get away from this person because they're just bad for me. And then some time passes, or later that day you start to have other thoughts come into your mind, and suddenly they're back on a pedestal that you've always had them on, or you are softly able to recognise some beautiful things about this person and what they did, for you or with you or whatever. Some good memories and good things good qualities about that person. And so we're doing this again, right? Also, we can be influenced by people we talk to. When we open our ears, I will say, when we listen to what people say around us, we need to take into account, where is that person within their life or their experiences, or what are their belief systems around their own journey, and whether do they actually ever trust anyone? Are they in self-protection mode, or are they in a position where they don't act because they don't want to be hurt? All that kind of thing. Like, remember that the advice they're going to give you is based on their experiences and where they're currently at with them at the time they're giving you the advice. So, everything with a grain of salt, if that makes sense. You need to take it on as what they're saying is because of where they're at. It's not necessarily the best advice for you, but what that can do is throw us back into, they're great, they're bad. And so, again, I'll say the truth is often somewhere in the middle. Nobody's perfect. The truth is often somewhere in the middle. And so whether we are able to speak with them at some stage and get further clarity about what actually was going on or what is going on, it doesn't actually matter in the end, because we need to balance ourselves out. Well, yes, this could be, or I know this for fact because that's what I experienced. These other things, other thoughts that are coming in, I don't have any evidence of that, actually evidence in my experience of that. So that's a question mark, and you don't allow the roller coaster to happen. And again, bringing your focus back to you and what you need to do for yourself, to care for yourself and heal. I hope that all makes sense. Distant past. So, I'm not going to put time frames on this, but typically, it can be anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 to 18 months ago. So it's going to be different for all people, but this is about a period of disappointment, of feeling overwhelmed by emotions, of others looking at you thinking, they're not quite themselves at the moment, being overwhelmed by emotion. It's actually a good place to be, because this is a place where we can do our emotional bookkeeping. And that means to actually spend time with ourselves, because we won't feel like, when we're like that, we don't feel like spending time with anyone else. Actually spend time with ourselves and start to process the things that have disappointed us, and feeling the associated emotions, and having that cry or punching that pillow or whatever it is that we need to do for ourselves, and then we start to nurture ourselves out of it. So it's a transformation process, okay? And so here we go with the more recent past is actually the opposite. of the moon, and that's the star. And I say why it's the opposite. This person's crying tears. This person's loving life. This person is loving their energy and really loving the environment that they're in, and a beautiful environment that is. They feel more confident. This person's downtrodden. This person feels more confident. So you've come out of your shell. You've done all your crying and whatever you have to do. You've accepted whatever's happened and whatever, and hopefully giving yourself a lot of self-care. And so Spirit rewards that you get filled with that higher frequency that I spoke of in the previous video, and you actually get to start to vibrate at a higher frequency yourself and really start to enjoy your life. And you know, that doesn't mean that right now today that this person doesn't sometimes feel like that. It's ups and downs, and it's you know, waves of the good, the bad and the ugly, if that makes sense. So it could be out in the world they're feeling like this, and you feel like, oh, yeah, I'm getting on top of this, yeah, I'm getting this strength that I need. But it can also be that at night or through the night while they're in bed trying to sleep, that they are having dreams about the other person or about whatever it is that the situation that disappointed them, whether it's work or whatever. And so they might wake up during the night or wake up in the morning feeling like, oh, gross. But then, and they don't want to get out of bed. But then they do make a move, and they you know, put one sock on at a time, put their legs one leg at a time in their pants, and they get up out of bed, and then this energy starts to come in more through balance and self-care, self-love. So the influence that's coming in, and some people might be already feeling this, while there could be a tendency for inaction for some people who need to be motivated, get motivated and do one thing for yourself today that you will feel good about. This can be a sense of stagnation, but it's in a position of the next influence that's coming from the universe, from God, from Spirit. So it's actually not about that, but it is about hanging loose for a bit and observing your environment. It's about the fact that whether you want it or not, you're going to start to see things from a different perspective. You're going to be enlightened, suddenly have an epiphany of a moment of clarity about, you know, but perhaps this situation or the way to move forward. But what the main thing for me with this card is, the influence is about it's kind of the opposite of the world, of how I described the world, where your energy is always outwards and always focused on other people and what you can do. This is about sitting pretty within yourself and just hanging loose, you know what I mean? And you can see the cherries or the fruits. You know, there's a lot of activity going on around you that you could get involved in, but you choose not to. You just sit back and you're able to choose what you want to get involved in, what you want to engage in, what you want to put your mind or energy towards. It's not about having everything, being out there tarting yourself around. It's actually about showing some discernment, because remember, what you're really looking for is balance and boundaries. And so once you start to feel good about yourself, we need to be careful with where we place our attention and our energies. Yeah? So being mindful, taking it easy, taking a breath, sitting back, hanging upside down if that's your thing, and choosing what you want to get involved in and what you don't want to get involved in, based on what is for your highest good, what feels right to you, not something that just is a quick fix for your ego or gives you a quick lift up or any sort of destructive stuff. It's more about being mindful of what we're investing in, how we spend our time, with whom, da-da-da. That's what's coming in, being more conscious of that. And it's coming from a place that we weren't at here. Even though we felt great love for this person, we didn't have this feeling of confidence and self-love. And so this painful process was necessary in order for us to come to a better place within ourselves. And that enables us then to be able to take our time in making choices, and more importantly, being super self-aware and conscious of what we choose to invest our energy or attention in moving forward. This is a confident, very happy, confident, I'm fine just as I am. I'll choose what I get involved in and what I don't. The attitude currently being applied is the Hermit, and that's very much about trying to shed light, spending time on your own, which is still very moon energy, spending time on your own and taking time out for yourself, and shedding light on those things that we're concerned about, those things that have caused us some disturbance to our peace, put it that way. And that's certainly been going on. So there's nothing wrong with that, and that's part of this healing process. We need to take time out for ourselves. I don't have any issue with that. This is the position where basically if Spirit thought your attitude sucks and it's not appropriate for the path they're trying to lead you towards for your highest good, this is where they'd say, change your attitude, it sucks. But actually, given that you've been through disappointment, it's good that you're going inward and actually becoming much more aware of your internal dialogue, and perhaps catching yourself out. You might be doing the dishes or something, and a thought, or watching TV or something, and a thought comes through your mind, and you go, hang on, was I just thinking that? That's not actually the truth. That's a very extreme version of that person that I'm choosing to believe, or that I was choosing to believe 2 weeks ago when I was pulling my hair out in emotional pain, but that's not actually the truth of what I know them to be. The truth is somewhere in the middle, yeah? So we become conscious of our internal dialogue, our beliefs around certain topics or about ourselves even. And that's important too, if you were feeling like anything you did or do is never good enough, then you be telling yourself, correcting that thought and telling yourself, actually, everything I do is good enough because I am good enough. And that's another self-care thing. So if we were to take a snapshot of your life, with you in it right now, we have the Tower, and that is about sudden or abrupt change or shifts in awareness around people that we deal with. So it can be that the wool's been taken from your eyes, and suddenly you can see things about a person or a business or whatever that you never thought you'd see. You'd never thought that person was capable of that kind of behaviour, and you kind of want to rub your eyes and go, am I seeing things? Is this what I'm, this behaviour that's coming off this person right now towards that other person or towards me? Is this who they really are? And so whatever happens, whether that person's acting that way because they are in extreme pain and fear themselves, and so they've got their armour on and they're bringing their sword around and whatever else. And can I say, for those people, if you're someone who tends to be like that, it's in your best interest to, I'm not saying humble yourself, it's easier said than done, but how do you actually get past the fear of why you put the armour on in the first place? Well, you can still, if you've developed the skills, because everything's just perception, good or bad, if you've developed the skills to be able to defend yourself by putting that armour on, having that shield and that sword, now we're in a place in the world with the higher frequencies where you can take that armour off, carry your shield in your, on your latch to the, one cheek, and then put your sword in its satchel or whatever they're called, in your sword carrier, on the other side of you. They don't have to be actively in your hands where you're ready for battle every minute of the day, whether it comes to a certain person or whether it's literally every minute of the day you're ready for a fight, that you're so defensive. You can actually say, well, I'm not letting go of my ability to protect myself and defend my boundaries, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to take the armor off to allow the sunshine in, to allow the higher frequency in, to allow opportunities for me to show some vulnerability and softness and, see, what's going on in the world and who I want to engage in and all that kind of stuff in a safe manner. But I've got my sword and my shield with me in case I ever need that. And that gives you more confidence. As in, I have teeth and I can protect myself if I need to. Yeah? So, went on a bit of a tangent there. I hope you're still with me. The point of the tower is that it's the universe's way or source's way, God. I don't want to have to say 5 different names for the same thing. the Almighty Creator. It's their way of saying you two have gone as far down this particular road that you're on as you're meant to. And so lightning strikes the tower and they get thrown in 2 different directions. But it usually comes in a form of seeing behaviour in that person that you are shocked by, or learning something about them that you're shocked by. It's about sudden perception change about that person. And it throws you, literally. And so that it just means that you weren't meant to go any further together down that path. But you can still, you'll never, after this event takes place, you'll never see them the same way again. But through communication and forgiveness and, really honest communication and vulnerability and whatever else, it's quite possible for these people to develop a more mature understanding of each other and a more transparent, clear understanding of each other. And it doesn't mean that they become best buddies or they get back together or anything like that. It is possible that they can do that, but it won't be anywhere like it was before, because stuff's happened, too much water under the bridge, stuff's happened, and you've both grown from it. It caused both people pain, and there's been growth, been thrown in your own direction to work on yourself. And so if there is any coming together with a bit of luck, it's that both people are coming from a higher place within themselves, a fuller place within themselves. And anything's possible. So, this position here is about your hidden desires and fears. And so you're fearful of and want, as I said before, balance and recognising the need for boundaries. So the justice card, it's all also about, well, I want justice done. I want to know what happened. I want to know what I don't know today. I want the full truth and nothing but the truth about whatever this situation is. Straight from the horse's mouth, if needed, or whatever it is. There's that, but you're also scared of receiving that information because it may cause a further tower moment, a further separation, a further destruction of what you thought this person to be or whatever else. So I want to know, but I don't want to know, that kind of stuff. But mainly where I come from with this card is that it's about you finding balance within yourself and then within your interactions with other people. the sword is there that once you've weighed up how much personal space you require, and what I mean by personal space is not just physical personal space, but how you believe you deserve to be treated by other people. Yeah? So behaviours that you'll accept from others and behaviours that you won't accept from others. And once you've worked that out, you draw a circle around yourself in the soil with your sword, and you say, don't cross this. This is my personal space. Don't cross this boundary. So as in, you cross that boundary with certain behaviours, you'll be stepping on my toes, and then I will use that sword to cut you off at the knees if I have to defend my boundary. I hope that makes sense. So you're wanting to be stronger in yourself and for things to be more just and fair in terms of your interactions with the people that you're interacting with. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is beautiful. This is you can see the flow here of confidence, of a desire for things to be fair and equal and balanced in terms of, well, I don't treat them that way, why do I get treated that way? Yeah? If I'm always putting out love and respect and kindness to people, why am I accepting that they're talking to me like I'm a piece of crap? Yeah? Why are they behaving as though I've never done anything good for them? That they haven't benefited from all of my generosity and care, for example. So, you then need the strength to be able to communicate that. It can be simple as you might be in your workspace at a cubicle and whatever else, and one of your workmates comes up from behind you and is talking at you over your shoulder. Hey, you weren't supposed to do this, da, da, da. And you just turn around and you say, hey, I don't talk to you that way. I can't imagine any circumstance that could occur in this workplace where I need to accept you talking to me that way. So how about you take a breath and let's talk about what it is you're talking about. And usually they'll go, oh, yeah, oh, shit, sorry. Sorry, swear word. Yeah, sorry about that. And you start to train them how to speak to you if they're people who are willing to learn. If they're people who come at you with further aggression and try to shut you down and tell you, no, you don't get to have boundaries. You don't get to take time out to look after yourself. You don't get to put yourself first for a moment. You don't get to tell me not to talk to you with harsh, tone or language. Actually, you do get to do all those things, and that's when you give them the bird and you say, well, adios, my friend, because I don't want to be around anyone who treats me like that. And I can say that with confidence and back myself up because I don't treat anyone like that, and I certainly haven't treated you that way. So I hope that's understood. And so moving forward, so I know that can be scary to speak up and defend your boundaries and to put boundaries in place in the first place. Most of us have got the circle we've done in the soil is right close to our toes and our heels. Like, we're allowing too much to get to us, if that makes sense. So, even just the point of expanding that and saying, well, no, I know how I treat people. I know how I should be treated. And you expand that circle. You by doing so, you're instantly making yourself more powerful, more self-empowered, more confident, because you're staking claim to how you want to be treated, and you can back it up by the way you treat people. So again, not asking for anything and not offering, and that gives you confidence. So I'm just saying, take those baby steps. It's a process. It takes practice to have your own back. That's another example of what this is about, having your own back. Anyway, so moving forward, we have temperance, and so I hope you can see that. Yes. Just a sip of water, sorry. Been through troubled times, been in the deep water, in the deep ocean, have stepped out of that now by the grace of God, of the universe, of Source. And we can see here the path leading to, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or, our highest good, basically. But we're not quite embarking on that yet. She's got two chalices, is that what they're called? Chalices or cups? And she's transferring water from one to the other, or pouring water into, and that to me is about, I need to weigh things up, I need to tie up loose ends, because it's the water, just like she's come out of the water, she's come out of the deep ocean. Water represents emotion, and we're talking about an ocean there, so there's roughness, so rough patch of deep emotion that has affected us. It's been a journey to get myself out of this deep topsy-turvy emotional state. And so I just need to take a moment before I take my steps forward along my journey to my highest good, and just take some pause and tie up loose ends. And that can look like, I don't know, it can depends on the situation, I guess, but it could be wrapping up certain contracts or signing divorce papers, or it could be just coming to grips with how somebody is, how they behave when they're feeling out of balance and unloved themselves. They lash out, or they detract, retract, whatever the word is. Coming to understandings about what's happened, acceptance around what's happened, or what put me in the deep ocean in the first place, and learning any lessons about that. Just taking pause and sorting yourself out before embarking on the journey forward. And you can kind of do two things at once, but if you can kind of allow yourself a bit of a moment where you get to reflect further, which is the hermit energy, but this person's out in the light. You see the opposites there. The hermit needs to shine the light brighter, but is very much keeping to themselves. This person is alone, but is out in the world, and is ready to embark on the new journey. But yeah, just taking that time out to connect with the divine as well. It could be that people I'm reading for today are very psychically aware, very much connected to the divine, because we've got some cards here that suggest divine interaction, put it that way, and connection. And so we are the people who are sort of getting hit the hardest at the moment with the higher frequencies, and with all of the breakdowns that are having to happen within us in order to make room for those higher frequencies, so that we can get our upgrades and then take that out into the world. So just be kind to yourself, and trust that so long as you're being kind to yourself and those around you, and doing things, even if it's one small thing every day that gets you off that couch, or gets you out of that bed, or gets you, out of that office chair, and caring for yourself, showing actual care for yourself in some way, each day will get just a little bit brighter. Sometimes when you step forward into that brightness, it's like you've got an elastic band pulling you back that night or the next morning or whatever, and you're back into the drama and the deep emotion of it. That just means, I was talking about waves before, it just means that there's more to process, and you're ready to process. So it feels like you've been pulled back into the deep ocean, but in actual fact you're processing. Yeah. So I'll leave that with you. I hope that it's helped someone. That's my aim here. I do private readings. There's an email in the description box or on my profile page if you want to book a private reading. But I hope that it's helped someone today. And have a great day.